Welcome to the Final Word phone in here on talkSPORT, me Majestic, alongside the experienced football gaffer, Sean Dyche. Thanks for all your calls so far and your artist shouts for our Final Word Festival main stage. We still need more of them, so 03717 223344. Great selection so far, including The Killers, Foo Fighters, Prodigy and Radiohead. Coming up soon, we'll discuss a very interesting potential swap deal, and the EFL returns next weekend. talkSPORT is your home of the Football League. But next up, we got to talk about Spurs and Cristian Romero. 03717 223344 to air your views to the nation of the Final Word phone here on talkSPORT. Right, we are talking about Spurs now, as producer Ross has put it in my running order. You know, like, because I'm a Spurs fan, people think I just choose to speak about. I speak about Spurs.
No, of course, it's got to be covered. It's got to be covered. Relevant news. Isn't it?
It is. Well, at the end of the day, we know that Cristian Romero is a World Cup winning Spurs captain.
Yep.
That's a big player, right? It seems to me that a deal for him to leave the club's imminent. De Zerbi spoke very positively about him, though. Do you think there's room for him to stay? But looking at the signings, it suggests that, you know, Van Hecke, Senesi, you know,
he's not character, isn't he? Because I've seen him up close play.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, he's tough and he can play. And forget about when it goes too far. Of course, I've got himself in trouble, silly challenges. But generally,
you're right. He can play as well.
Yeah, he can. He scored.
Yep.
Right, it's a massive thing to have. You've got a centre half who can score set pieces and stuff like that, of course. And yet he just drifts into these weird performances and mid-performance. Yeah, and you just go, you can't do that, you know, certainly at any level of football. But certainly not when you're captain and captain of any team, let alone Tottenham, who are, you know, fantastic big club, you know what I mean? So you're going like, well, I don't know, as a manager, I think he's a real conundrum, me. I really do. And you know, I do think he's talented without a shadow of a doubt. But it's just, his temperament just seems, you're never quite sure, are you? You're going to get, let's face it, as a manager's view, as a centre-half, right, you want them really to be your rocks. Yeah. You want them to be your solid citizens. They're going to be there all season. They're going to do the job, other than injury and all that sort of stuff. And they're going to be the ones who are pretty stalwart players who season after season, you know, if you get some good centre-halves at your club, you've got half a chance. Yeah, because
we had Toby Alderweireld on the breakfast show last week, and he was talking about Cristian Romero. And, you know, when him and Jan Vertonghen were Spurs' centre-halves, like you said, the generals...
Vertonghen, good player. Yeah. Good player, you know what I mean?
And you know, and as Toby said, it's that same thing. You can tell he's a great football player, but especially that position of the pitch, you cannot be affording those moments.
I think, am I right, he's about 26 now?
Yeah.
So he should be mature, you know, coming through that you know, that I'm on about football maturity, by the way. I don't mean, I'm not about, you know.
He's actually 28. 28.
Oh, 28. Well, even better then. So he should have a more balanced view of you know, not just, you know what I mean, right? When you start, you do your bit. And as you get older and you mature as a player, you start learning the team bit, you know, and what you mean to the team and how, do you know what I mean? How you can start controlling what the team do and, playing your part in it. Never more so than from centre-half. You know, I was a centre-half. I wasn't like him. I wasn't as good as him, but I knew the job. You know, I knew to organise. I knew the responsibility I had on my shoulders, what to do. And that's what I think at 28 now, after all the success he's had as well, I just think he'd be more balanced, you know, in the way he is as a player. You know, I don't know him as a bloke, but as a player on the pitch, I mean.
Who's the best captain you've ever had?
Oh, people wouldn't know, but you know, somebody changed, certainly, my group of players when I was at Chesterfield, believe it or not, and they brought in Nicky Law, centre-half from Nicky Law, had been at Rotherham, ex-Arsenal, actually, as a kid, but been at Rotherham and clubs like that. And he just had a way about him of conducting himself in a way that, you know, he meant business, you know what I mean? And he did it on the pitch, did it off the pitch in the way he was around people. And I'm on about as a football person, good lad as well, I got on well with him, but what I mean is, as a football person, he understood the job at hand, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I remember even as a kid, I was lucky really, but obviously at Forest I had Stuart Pearce. Now I wasn't in the first team, but he trust me, he was powerful throughout the club. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Bringham when I was at Chesterfield, another great friend of mine who was a good captain, you know. And I think it's changing. I do think captains are changing now. But I just think, you know, someone like him, I think as a manager, it'd be really frustrating because you can see what a player he is. Yeah. You can see he's competitive. You see he's got an edge, and you do need an edge. I always say that you need an edge of arrogance, but not, I don't mean when it goes overboard. To get out there in front of all them people every week and the international scene, win World Cups, you need an edge of arrogance in what you are. Absolutely. But you can't just let it spill over, you know, and it ends up causing more trouble than what they're worth in the end. You know what I mean? And he's had moments of that, I must say. Not all the time, because he's a very good player. But he's had moments where you go, why? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That must be why people can try.
It is literally why. Yeah. Why you didn't even need to do that.
Yes.
There. And then, And again, you know, from a managerial point of view, as your club captain now, and again, this is the problem. We hear stories. Now, that whole story of he was going back to Argentina when Spurs were going to be in, possibly getting relegated from the Premier League, and he wasn't going to be there in the last day of the season. Obviously, he was. You know, that all changed.
Yeah.
We don't know how true it actually was. Was he going or not? This is why fans are now on this position of just let him go. Because obviously they're hurt by that.
Yeah.
And
it's tough, isn't it?
Yeah, as a fan.
I mean, there's more information out there now as well. You know, let's face it, trying to contain information in a football club is nigh on impossible. So fans get more information, rightly or wrongly, it then builds a story, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And the story can get really overpowering. And then it's trouble for the manager and the club and for the player. You know, and I think Spurs fans, I don't know, look, I try and give a fair view of fans. Most fans, you're always going to get your 10% minority of the haters. Right?
Speaking of fans, Tom, our Rangers fan, was superb.
Yes, by the way, he certainly was. Because not only, it's a fair shout before we go back onto what's happening there, but I listen to some of these shows, and I'm on some of the shows, and some people get on, they're really emotional, I understand it, but he was very measured, I thought, so fair play to him. Yeah, going back to the Tottenham thing, it's 1 minute, you know what, I don't know all these guys, I don't know everyone in the camp, but sometimes it's just as a manager and as a fan, because so much gets out there, fans get confused, don't they?
Yeah,
fans are going, well, what are we going to believe? Are we believing that, or believing this, or believing whatever? And it's hard to contain. Noise. Yeah, and trying to not contain, that's not fair, because everyone has a view now, and that's fine. But just trying to align the view, you know, and go, hang on a minute, this is what's happening. You know, and sometimes clubs go, like I said earlier, there's more noise, so sometimes you just let it go away, you know, let it drift away, with the old fishing chip paper when they used to say when I was young. But other things, you have to take it on. And I think this is a really interesting one with Romero, you know, which way is this going to swing from a fan's point of view and from the club and the manager's point of view.
You're De Zerbi, what do you do? Stay or go?
I'd have a truth chat with him. You know what I mean? To be honest, and go, right, in private, you know, I go, where are you really at with this?
Yeah.
What do you really want?
Yeah.
Because if you're not in it to win it, then let's shake hands.
And I think that's what De Zerbi he's come out publicly and said it, and I know privately he's done it as well. It's like, if you do not want to be at this football club with this project, please just tell me.
But you know the other thing, I'd have to go, but if you are, we got to have an agreement now.
Yeah.
Don't keep throwing your dummy out with you, because it doesn't suit you. We got to have an agreement now between us. As long as I'm here, you'll give me my word. Your word. You're going to do your lot for this football club, for me, for yourself, etc. That would be my chat.
I just think, in terms of the scenarios that play out, Simeone and him, it's almost like it's his son. Like they are made for each other. That is a perfect Simeone player.
Simeone trips his tummy. He'd take no. Yeah. You know the word I'm thinking. No nonsense. Let's say. So any of that, it's going, no.
But that's what I'm saying. I think they'd have a great relationship.
Yeah, probably would, because in a way that, you know, like whatever people think about modern footballers, they still need boundaries. Now, it's getting harder to get them boundaries, by the way. But they still need some form of boundaries.
Absolutely.
And I know from Trip Simeone, he has certainly laced down boundaries, I can assure you that. I
can imagine.
You step over that mountain, there's only one winner.
Yeah.
That's why he's the highest paid manager in the world, because he has that much power. Yeah, he's a real gaffer, because the club have almost gone, you're the highest paid manager in the world, you do what you need to do, we're going to back you.
Well, that's brilliant. Well, what a job to have. Spurs fans, come and talk about how the pre-season's going, and should Cristian Romero be sent packing to Madrid? Get your calls coming into us, 03717 223344. You listen to The Final Word on talkSPORT with Sky Vegas. It all starts with a spin. 18+, gamblerware.org.
And it's Cristian Romero!
Liability. Give Vicky van der Ven the captaincy.
And sometimes with a red card, with some sort of action, you think, that's not what the team needed now.
Across into the near post, and the header is sent in by Cristian Romero.
He was a liability for us last season. He was the captain. He didn't want to be there on the last day, so get rid of him.
There you go. The verdict's out on Romero. A lot of people there, you heard from Jamie O'Hara, calling him a liability. Dan Ambrose saying, give Van der Ven the captaincy, move him on. You know, what I struggle with, Sean, is that he is a good player. He's a World Cup winner. He's a winner. Like, he's got it in his DNA. Yeah. Do you sometimes, to be a really big team, have to accommodate those people and deal with them differently to others and go, you know what, I'm going to treat them a bit different to the others of the group? Or does that send a bad signal out? Does that set a standard?
Right, so the rule of thumb would be every team needs mavericks.
Yes.
You know the problem when they become non-maverick and they start becoming, well, the old favourite, which we said earlier, is Clive Woodward used, which is energizers and sappers. So if you're a Maverick and you need a bit of management and a bit of maintenance, no problem. But if you're a sapper and you're draining the life out of everyone, we call it mood hoovers. You know, if you get the old mood hoover, you know what I mean? And you're like, oh, here we go.
I got called a mood hoover yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah, because I was like...
You need to check yourself then.
Is that a festival?
Trust me, that's bad. If someone calls you a mood hoover, that's like, ooh.
I finished my set and I wanted to sit down. It's like, you're not coming to dance? I was like, oh no, I need to have a little sit down.
No, it's not mood hoover. That's just having a rest.
I know. I was recalibrating afterwards.
Yeah, recalibrating. Yeah, just settling. No, but you get my point. So if they turn into sappers and they're killing the dressing room, then you got to go, mate. Well, I always said this. My rule of thumb was this: I talk to you, then I demand of you, and then I'll drag you. And if I'm dragging you and it ain't working, then it's time for you to get out of the building.
Yeah.
Oh, well, or me, whichever way it works. But I just thought no. So
that's why I had to sub Yaya Toure once. That's my claim to fame. I subbed Yaya Toure on a charity football match. Yaya, come on, son.
Yeah, come on, enough for you. So. No, but
what a legend.
So I think, look, I don't know in the camp. In the camp, you know, the other thing is, I must say this, you know, to protect him a little bit, sometimes he's a good guy, you know, it's when they get the red mist when the whistle blows. Yeah. You know, in the camp, you think, oh, he's right on board, and they are. And they get him on a pitch and you go, what just happened?
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe he is. Maybe he is a good guy. But I think with a player like that, you've certainly got to, well, if I was deserving, I'd certainly be having an honest chat with him.
Yeah.
But then you've got to lay down some boundaries and go, look, if you're in it to win it, as I said, we've got to have a gentleman's agreement here that you're going to, you know, stand up and be counted when we really need you, not just when you fancy it. You know what I mean?
Have you had those conversations with players?
Of course. Yeah, you've got to know where they stand, and you've got to know. By the way, both though, both. Yeah. Because then the player knows, doesn't he? He goes, "All right, Gaffer, you know, like I get you." Yeah, they're right. You know, some of them conversations go really well. Some they don't because you're a human as well. And when they hit something back, you go, "Oh, I didn't think of that one." So I've had a few curveballs.
Right, former Liverpool and Welsh striker Dean Saunders was alongside Shabana Hearn on The Breakfast Show recently, and he had this to say on Romero.
Romero is up there with one of the worst captains in the history of the Premier League. Finished 17th, 2 years running, right? He was the captain. Mm-hmm. So he can't be that good, can he? Mm-hmm. And he's an absolute liability on the pitch. He's a walking red card, and his behaviour in the World Cup after the whistle went sums him up.
Scathing report from Dean Saunders there. The worst captain
right, we'll all agree on that one. The behaviour thing, unacceptable.
Yeah,
we can all agree with that.
Well, after the whistle.
After the World Cup thing, we can all agree with that.
But unfortunately, I kind of do like it. I like the housery sometimes.
No, I know what you mean, but
it's not gentlemanly.
No, it goes too far.
Yeah,
it goes too far. But the bit about the captaincy, I mean, I wouldn't say they finished 17th because of him. You know what I mean?
Well, this is the thing. Also, just to fact check Dean, who great, I love Dean, but in actual fact. The first year when we got 17th and won the Europa League, and we just put that in there as well because that needs context.
Yep.
Sonny was the captain.
Of course,
it was Son. Cootsie became the captain when Son left.
Sonny.
Oh, yeah. That goal against Burnley when he runs against the whole.
Oh yeah, cheers. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, mate. Yeah, thanks for that.
I was there.
Yeah, brilliant. I really enjoyed that day. 5-0 at half time, wasn't it? Or 4-0.
It was bad. It was a bad one.
Bad. It was really bad.
What did you say half time to those defenders?
I said that went well. Well, I had to untwist them off the pitch first. You know, when Sonny was running rings around everyone.
Yeah, but I tell you what, it was never nice going to your gaff. Never.
We had some. Well, we turned it around one year when we beat you 2-1.
Yeah,
and we
remember.
We'd only taken 12 points after 19 games. The season we got into Europe, and then the next 19 games for the second half of the season, we took 28 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we beat Tottenham that started it.
Yeah, no, I remember very clearly. Darren's a Spurs fan.
Yeah, go on.
He joins us. Darren.
Hi.
How are you, my friend?
Hi, Darren.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, very well. Listen, we know Cristian Romero is a good player. That's not what's the question here. Would you keep him?
No.
Just straight no.
Yeah, but that's a voice of.
This is the fans. Yeah,
but that's a fair point. But I'm not trying to say yes or no. I'm just trying to give a view, a manager's view.
Darren, what is it for you that you don't like?
You can't trust him. It's the red cards. It's his behaviour. He wanted to go last year. To me, he doesn't commit himself to a club, and he wants to go to Spain. Now he's saying he wants to go to Arsenal. Why would any club want him? He's not reliable.
Well, let's ask the gaffer. This is why
he hasn't come out. He hasn't come out personally and said he wants to go to Arsenal.
No, this is why we keep taking things as almost gospel.
Because it is handy, isn't it, that happens to be an arch enemy and they've suddenly linked him.
Yes.
While the fire's burning.
Correct.
So let's just cool that one down a little bit. The other bit, look, we were just saying, there's no doubt in his ability as a centre half. The big doubt for me as a manager would be, what's the dressing room angle? You know, what is he affecting? Now, if he's getting sent off now and again and making bad decisions, maybe we can coax that out of him and help him on his journey to get rid of that.
If there's
trouble in the camp, then he's got to go.
It's 4 red cards in 123 appearances. Bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Is it bad?
Well, yeah, but although the modern game is getting more difficult to not get a red card.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so don't get me wrong. There is an angle to that.
36 yellow cards.
Yeah, but some of them red cards are silly.
Yeah.
No, I think I don't know this for a fact, but I would imagine that sort of the yellow card thing in Europe and especially in South America is pretty normal, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, that's part of their culture almost of football. So I don't worry so much about the yellows. But the reds, there's a few silly ones in there, weren't there?
Absolutely. So Darren, for you, it's done. You're just wiping your hands with him.
Well, you say when you talk about the red cards, if you look what he does in the World Cup for Argentina, he doesn't get sent off.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, that's fair. Yep.
He was unreal in that semi-final as well.
Oh yes, but my problem with it is when it comes to Tottenham, he plays like he doesn't care about the club, and you see some of the other players, he's an influence on them, and that's another reason why I don't want him there. He's a bad influence.
You know, I've got to ask you this though, right? Both of you, as Tottenham fans. So why did they give him the captaincy in the first place then?
I think, as Darren said, it felt like he wanted to leave the club. They thought, right, this is how we're going to get him to sign a new deal, which he did.
Which is ridiculous, though, isn't it? Let's have it right.
But again,
it's a bad reason to be signing.
Hasn't Spurs been ridiculous for the last couple of seasons?
Well, look, I'm not going to get involved in that.
Yeah, no, but it is really and truly, isn't it?
If the club's saying to me, we need to promise him this to keep him, I go, well, no, get rid of him then.
Yeah,
that's madness. You know what I mean? I would imagine, I was hoping the answer would be, well, because they thought he was captain material.
Yeah.
Because my point is, you don't suddenly change into a terrible captain for no reason. So the thing that I forgot to say is the first thing I'd ask him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't tell him anything. I'd ask him what his view is. I go, where do you think this is at? And then I'd point out all the things that this great caller's called out, you've called out. And I'd say, right, so what is the reason for all this? You know, what's happening in your life? Is there something wrong in your life? Because, you know, but don't be surprised, mate, when some odd things come at you and you go, God, I never even thought about that. So I'd ask him first. Before I started telling him what I was going to tell him, I'd ask him, where are you at with all this? You know, where are you really at with it? Deep down, what's the script?
Yeah, let's just forget all the nonsense. Let's just be real with one another for the sake of our careers. Great call. Thank you very much, Darren. Got a great message here from Matt. He said, I like this. He must be American. Y'all asked earlier about experiences with actual players. The world was a much bigger place than 1996, absolutely right, and I didn't appreciate it then. But I was at the 1996 Olympic semi-final in Athens on the Brazil roster, right? Bebeto, Roberto Carlos, Jorginho, Rivaldo, and some 19-year-old kid called Ronaldo.
Yeah. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
What a memory that is for him, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you know, the Liverpool fan earlier on that was talking about the team like from the 70s and that. Like, again, whilst things happen, you don't appreciate how great they are.
That's how good and bad life is. Right?
Exactly.
Because you've had breakthrough moments in your career.
Oh, yeah.
And at the moment, they're just happening.
Correct.
And then you look back and go, oh, my goodness.
Yeah,
you
wow.
know, what was that all about? Yeah.
And again, even like with football teams, like I think, again, with, you know, just because we're on the subject of Spurs, we mentioned Son being captain. And again, I think, I always say to people, Spurs finished 17th last season. It was our first season without either Son or Kane for 10 years.
Yeah.
That is a massive
adjustment. Them two were unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, Son, as he matured into a Tottenham shirt, what a player. When you see him up close in person, mate, you're like, Kane, well, I mean, I'm a massive fan of his, always have been.
I've never had the pleasure of meeting Sonny. Is he as likeable?
I haven't met him, but it just used to, you know, on the pitch. When
but that's what I'm saying. When he's
just walking off.
Yeah, he seems like a delight.
Yeah, you just get that feeling, like, you know, and some people have that aura about them, don't they? Where you just think, I bet you're a top pro, top guy, you know what I mean? And they tell me he is, or he was, you know, when he was at Tottenham, and I'm sure he still is.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, I'm sure, is he over in America now?
He's in LA.
He's playing with Wesley, Ashley Westwood, I'm sure
he's in LA.
Player. Oh, no, sorry, I was thinking of Columbus. I'm sure he's at Columbus. Sorry, my player, Ashley Westwood.
You know, Son's at LA, which is amazing for him because they've got a huge Korean contingency there.
Right.
And
fair play to him. I mean, the career he's had is incredible.
And
when he first came out, he was pretty sort of unknown, weren't he? At the end of the radar, relatively, you know what I mean, to what he became.
But yeah, it's mad though. He had played with Ruud van Nistelrooy and Van der Vaart in Germany.
Yeah. Yeah, but what I mean is he's still a bit of an undercurrent signing for that time.
You know? And the thing is, it took him a while to, again, to settle.
Yep,
they did, and it was only really because Vincent Janssen didn't really take off in the way that we didn't take off, the way that we was hoping after his season the year before in Eredivisie. He smashed it. It was like 37 goals, came in, didn't really do anything. Harry got injured. Sonny comes in. It's like he scored again, and then all of a sudden they become the record-breaking pair of assists and goals together in the Premier League, which is, one accolade. And for them to not win anything like together was a big.
Do you remember? I'll give you a quick insight. When we were at Burnley, right? It's coming towards the end of the season, and we're getting sucked back in. I think it was the first time we stayed up, and they were Swansea were 2-1 up or 1-0 up, and we're literally, my assistant's ringing me going, "Oh no, this is bad news." You know what I mean? Even my son, we're in the TV room back home, and I'm going, "This is really bad news." Only Sonny pops up, Kano pops up. I think they won 4-2 in the end, and we were jumping around the, absolutely buzzing because it almost secured us.
Yeah.
Right? And the first time you stay up is a massive thing.
Of course.
And we were going mad. And we were going, "Go on, Sonny." And he became our hero. That's every time you see him, you go, "There he is. There's Sonny, baby."
Yeah. That's why I like, for me now, as in a cult hero, Paulinho will always be welcome at Spurs. He scoring that goal in the final day. I'm upset we didn't keep him. 03717 223344 is the number to call. We've got loads of callers waiting. We're going to come to you in a moment's time. The good news, the big man, Alan Brazil, will be back on The Breakfast Show Wednesday morning. I listened to it in the week. So good to have him back.
Yeah, he sounded in a good voice.
Yeah, he was in good spirits. And Chris Evans returns to the Virgin Breakfast Show tomorrow, which is must listen radio. I'm sure he's got some bands that he'd put on our lineup. You're listening to The Final Word on talkSPORT with Sky Vegas. All your favourite games, all in one place. 18+ gambler.org. It's Majestic and Sean Dyche here on The Final Word, phone here on talkSPORT. And we've got lots to go through. Let's go to the phone lines because Michael is a Spurs fan and he joins us on the show. How are we, Michael?
Hello, mate. I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very well indeed. Listen, it's this Cristian Romero situation. I just want it done in some way. If De Zerbi comes out and says he's staying, wicked, I'll back it. But if he goes, he goes. Really? What's your feelings?
Would you really be happy with that if he was staying? I wouldn't at all.
Do you know what it is? And Sean can help us on this one. I genuinely, and I said this because when De Zerbi first came in, I said I don't want him. I said he was the right man at the wrong time. Because I thought,
manager.
Yeah,
yes.
I thought De Zerbi was the right man, but at the wrong time. I was like, he argues with everyone, and like it's going to be chaos. In actual fact, it worked.
Those two together.
Yeah. Oh my God, it'd be. I'd watch that on DAZN.
Around the phone box.
Yeah. But he kept us up. I've liked what he's been saying.
He's proper, mate. He's a proper manager. He's great.
Michael, get your opinion on this as well, and Sean's. I really liked Conte, right? But I felt that, like when you've got a really good-looking partner and they're better looking than you, and they tell you, like, listen, you're lucky I'm with you. Like I'm a 10 and you're a 6, and they remind you every day, right? That's what it felt like with Conte. Like any moment he would just leave us.
Just to be clear, I've never had that. Just so we're absolutely abundantly clear, I've never been the 10. That's for sure. I've always been the 6.
But yeah, I just felt like both Jose and Conte was kind of like, we're bigger than you, we're better than you, and they would remind us. De Zerbi, I love the fact he's coming. Is like Spurs is a big club. It feels like we're on the cusp of both of us have got the potential to do good things, and potential's the word.
First of all, let's wait and see.
Exactly,
it's potential. A little window. Yeah, it's just a little window.
Correct.
Different animal being Spurs and Brighton. With all due respect, Brighton, they've become a fantastic club, Brighton.
Correct.
Different animal. And
this is the test for him. Absolutely. And I think he respects that. And I like the way that he talks about that. So for me, Michael, I'm like, I'm giving him full trust now. And I hate to say it, I have to look at the Arsenal model and the trust that they gave Arteta and said, we're going to believe in you.
Yep, stood by him,
And we're going to let you make the decisions. What, you want Aubameyang?
Stood by him, that sounds negative. You know what I mean? They gave him, a lot of time.
But this is the thing, Michael, for example, if Spurs finish 8th this season, do you go, we go again next year with De Zerbi? Because that's what Arsenal did with Arteta.
Where do you think they will finish? It's a great question for you, Mike, both of you.
Michael.
Where are you at, Michael? Where are you at with where they should finish? I know we're going off point, but I'd be really interested to know your view as a fan, where you think Spurs should finish this season.
I mean, after the last 2 seasons, I'd love a top 10. I mean, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, that's realistic.
But that's right. That's brilliant to a caller and a fan. Sorry, Michael, to say that is brilliant for me as a manager. Yeah. I'll take that if I was them.
So mine is Europa League places. With the money that's spent, it has to be Europa League. Okay. Spurs need to be in Europe.
Not ridiculous, not unreasonable, not that easy, but not
absolutely. But
sorry, mate. Go on. Sorry.
Go on, Mike.
No, I was just saying. I mean, I'd love a top four, obviously, but we've got to be realistic about the whole situation.
Do you know why? Do you know why the Europa? Do you want my romantic fantasy, right, Michael? This is what I'm feeling. Spurs get into the Europa League positions next year. We're back in Europe. Harry Kane comes home on a free transfer.
Right? I get where you're going.
Yeah,
I get where you're going.
And then we win the Europa League with Harry, and he's won something with Spurs.
I got you.
You know what I mean? But no, on a real. If we can finish in the Europa League places with the money spent.
That, wouldn't he?
Yeah. But yeah, Michael, so anyway, just back to our point.
Yeah, sorry.
I trust in De Zerbi to whatever his decision is, I'm sticking with him. That's all I'm saying, Michael.
What, with regards to Romero?
Yeah, correct.
He's got to go, mate. He's had his time at Tottenham, and he's annoyed too many fans. I mean, look at all the kids that are watching the game now and his behaviour. And
yeah, it's not a good example.
It's not a good example, but not only that. We've had Sonny as captain, we've had Harry Kane as captain, and then we've had Romero. I mean, it's kind of a big fall, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, certainly different kind of captain. I'll say that. But like you say, I didn't know the reason, probably what you said, where they just thought keep him calm or keep him involved. But look, it seems like the power is building and the power of fans is important. And De Zerbi will know that, by the way. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think manager will make a pure decision on fans, but it does get overbearing at times when they might have to go, look, for the good of the team and the club, this is a better decision, to let that player go, or not let him go, sell him, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Michael, great call. Thank you very much indeed. It's the general consensus. A lot of people...
Seems powerful now, doesn't it? It's building, that one.
Yeah, I just think sometimes with fans, we've seen it with Jill, with Man United, when fans are upset with a player, it's very hard to get them back on side.
You know what's interesting, though, because it's another thing I'm intrigued with fans' view, because a lot of fans come up to me now, because I'm always on this one about players diving and cheating.
And just quickly, as I remember, because I know Michael said so, Harry Kane was actually never Spurs' actual captain. It was Hugo Lloris. Hugo, then Son.
Of course it was, yeah.
It just feels like Harry was a captain.
Yeah.
But I think he captained Spurs the first time at Turf Moor in a 0-0. Yeah.
There you go. No, I was just going to remark on that when he said about his behaviour. But you could say about a lot of Premier League players' behaviour. Do you know what I mean? There should be an improvement across the board for me. And you mentioned about kids and all that watching. You know what I mean? There should be an improvement across the board for me. So I don't think that's just purely on him. But I do get the point in a Tottenham shirt. There has been some weird and wonderful moments without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly that. And it's hard to come back from that. Yep. Right, let's turn our attention to producer Ross's team. Everton, one of your former sides.
Yep.
Everton and Crystal Palace are closing in on a straight swap deal involving wingers Dwight McNeil and Brennan Johnson. McNeil, who has entered the final year of his contract at Everton, is set to join Palace 7 months after a proposed £20 million move to Selhurst Park collapsed on deadline day. Heading the other way to Goodison Park is 25-year-old Welsh international Brennan Johnson, who struggled for form at Palace following a £35+ million move from Tottenham, failing to score in 26 appearances. Sean gave McNeil his debut, and influence gave him a great season at Everton. What do you make of the player? What do you make of this deal?
Well, I mean, I'll be intrigued on whether it's a straight swap literally or whether there's money involved. I would imagine there's some money involved, probably towards the Crystal Palace side of things. Everton giving them some extra money. I don't know. That's not to get involved with the players. I think they're both very good players. I'm bound to go on the side of Dwight because I gave him his debut and hopefully sort of helped him somewhat with his career. Still only 26, got sort of 250 games under his belt or something like that. So he's certainly, he knows the Premier League. He can play a number of different positions. Brennan's a different one. I think Brennan, maybe, I'm looking at Everton thinking with the Jack Grealish situation, now a different type, of course. Jack was a carrier of the ball and became a talisman almost for him, Brennan's more direct and he's got more direct pace, more direct runner.
He arrives late at the back post.
So I can see why both would maybe be thinking Dwight maybe a fresh view of it all and goes to a club and gets a different feel. It's been a bit hit and miss at Everton with the crowd and stuff like that. That can sometimes play a little bit on you. And I think Brennan's been similar, hasn't he? He's gone down to Palace, not quite worked out, but spells of it when it's worked, not quite. Maybe it's a good fit in a different way. It gives Dwight a different feeling coming to London. Would he be affected by that? Because I've mentioned before that some players are and some love it and they fit hand in glove and others find it a bit tricky. Equally, would Brennan be better off going outside London? different feel, to a northern club. You know what I mean? He's from the Midlands, obviously, in Nottingham, which is not only North Midlands. You know what I mean? But it's a different feel with the fans, different cultural feel. So it might suit both in a different way. Well, it'd be really interesting to see if this happens, how them two players do. It'd be really interesting.
Absolutely, and let's find out from an Everton fan because Dave joins us on the show. How are we, Dave?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you, chaps? You all right?
Yeah, yes. Good, thanks, Dave.
You've heard this potential swap deal. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's two players who feel like they're in a bit of limbo, really, because Dwight, obviously he was heading to Palace last season. Yes, they've got on his back a bit because he's one of those players. He's so he's quite a frustrating watch at times because I'm sure he tries to. Sometimes he's walking around and the crowd get on the back and he's got a good delivery. But I think it makes sense for the swap. I don't know whether that signals anything for Ellerman and Jai with someone like Brennan Johnson coming in. I would hope not, but yeah, I mean, I think it's a decent swap if it's a swap.
Yeah, Illy's done really well there. We signed him when we were there, and he's done great. I mean, he really has, and he's progressed a considerable amount. I think with Dwight, I think Dwight's a very good player. I'm bound to say that. Like I say, I gave him his debut, but I think he's a seasoned Premier League player. So I think you pretty much know what you're going to get. And I can actually see Brennan doing well at Everton as well. Excuse me. I think the crowd would go with him. Dwight's just like you say. I don't know. It's a funny one. Fans can be funny with players for no absolute. There's no absolute apparent reason. And the Evertonians, as much as had a great time with them and shared some great memories and some hard memories, by the way, but they can be a bit like that because Michael Keane. I mean, what a player Michael Keane is. I loved working with him. And yet they were on him for a while. And last season he was meant to be terrific. I mean, I didn't watch all the games, but I saw a few. And he had a terrific season. So I think there is a place where they could do well at each club they're at now. But I could see why they could change equally. You know what I mean? I could see why that might occur and might be a good deal for both.
Dave, what's the expectations and hopes for you going into the season as an Everton fan? What is a good season for Everton next year?
It's so difficult as an Everton fan explaining to other teams because we're the perennial Premier League club, aren't we? That just doesn't seem to do anything positive, but never really goes down either. So we're kind of in that horrible. we're in that horrible. But you say that, Sean. But I think I'm not one of these who thinks you should go down. But Jesus, winning something would be nice, like a promotion or something. Just having that positive feeling. I mean, all I would say is that what I rang really is. Watching the pre-season friendlies and historically last few seasons, we're going to have the same problem we had for the last 3 years. You can have Grealish and Jai and Brennan Johnson and these fantastic players like Dewsbury Hall, but if you've got Barry or Beto up front, and I know you know them better than I do, but most Evertonians will tell you straight away, neither of those players can carry us forward to the top.
No one's really done the job up front for Everton since Lukaku.
Yeah. And how frustrating, Dave, it must be to watch Calvert-Lewin banging in 14 goals last season in the Premier League.
It was. I mean, look, Calvert-Lewin. I always liked Calvert-Lewin, but the problem was, he was made of glass, and he played 3 games a season. So it was literally like, I could see what
he needed a start. He needed a fresh start. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah. Sometimes
we need someone up front and banging the goals.
Dave,
no, exactly. I couldn't agree more.
Would you take Richarlison back? Because we talked about second stints at clubs. Richarlison loves Everton.
Yeah, I'd take him back in a heartbeat.
Would you?
I would take him back in a heartbeat. Have him as the number 9. Get him up because Richarlison's not a bad player.
He's another frustrating player.
Yeah,
I think, isn't he?
Yeah.
No, I can't wait.
Yes, but you know what it is, and then again, you go to the stats. Yeah, he scored 11 goals in the Premier League for Spurs last season.
They're really tough season.
In a tough season.
Yeah,
and. Krupi, who's been bounded, I know he's young and he's very talented, scored 13.
Yeah.
It's 2. If I'm Richarlison, I'm like, I've scored 2 less than the guy that everyone's talking about. I'm Premier League experience. I'll put a shift in for you and I'll work hard. But, again, it's frustrating because I don't know about you, Dave, but as a Spurs fan, sometimes he'll score an outrageous goal and then the tap-ins, you go, how have you missed it?
Yeah. Well, I've got to say though. Yeah, no, I know. So I will, I like these lads. Well, Beto we signed, but we did a reverse finance deal. We didn't have any money, so we signed him we didn't pay for him for 18 months.
I remember that.
So
literally, it was
so
hard.
we knew it was going to be a slow project, for him to get to Premier League speed. And he's had patches. I mean, physically he can handle it. He's had patches, but I know exactly what you mean. Most managers, I'll tell you now, in the Premier League, most of them know what they're doing. They're looking at the front of the pitch. What have we got at the front of the pitch? That's the difference between the. Now, I'm not about the Super Bowls. I'm not about winning the league. But if you're sort of, top 6 outside of the top 6 of the club, you're looking who's going to score the goals for us, and that is such a big difference. Everton was so close to pushing on last year. Barry nicked a few, Beto nicked a few, but they didn't have someone who they could go, bang, they're going to score goals. And a massive part for Leeds, mentioned about Calvert-Lewin, was him turning up.
Absolutely.
That was a massive part. Without that, they'd have been in a bit of trouble.
Yeah.
So it's such a big thing, but everyone thinks they go on tree strikers.
Well, this is it. We are.
I had Ashley Barnes, right? Ashley Barnes, people knock him, but he was getting just around double figures, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 every season in the Premier League with Chris Wood. So if you got 2 of them, people said, why did you play 2 up front? There's your answer. Because we get 20-odd goals a season out of them. And we couldn't do it with 1 player. We had to do it with 2.
Brilliant, cool. Thank you very much, Dave. So we're talking about the potential swap deal for Dwight McNeil and Brennan Johnson. Me as a Spurs fan, as I said, Brennan Johnson will always be in our hearts because he was that man that turned up. It probably was his own goal, to be fair, in Bilbao.
That's harsh.
But
take it.
He was there. Take it. We had a great time. Johnson again, all that. Good fun. Coming up next, we're going to have an emotional moment as we discuss hard competitive sports. You're listening to The Final Word on talkSPORT with Sky Vegas. All your favourite games, all in one place. 18+, gamblerware.org.